What is up, guys? It's Jake from Team Insanity here, bringing you another paintball video. Now, first things first, you guys are probably wondering, why the hell is this kid standing in front of a bathroom sink? I'm going to obviously show you why here in a second, but, if you hear a little bit of echo, it's because I'm in a bathroom, and I'm going to explain to you why here in a second. So, one question that we always get is, Team Insanity, why am I not shooting accurately? Well, I'm going to go a little bit more in depth beyond the paint theory. So obviously 95% of your accuracy is going to be coming from your paint. So just to give you a quick little rundown, if you're a newer player, buy good paint if you want to shoot accurately, okay? If you are spending $25, $30 for a case of paint, you're not getting good paint. You're getting shitty paint, you're going to get shitty results, okay? You pay for what you get. All paintballs are not created equally. With that being said, if your field has 3 or 5 different options of paint for you to choose from, and you always choose the lowest amount of paint, the lowest quality paint, you're going to get low quality results. Okay, that's why it's made cheaply. Okay, it's just not made as quality. So again, why is my paint not breaking? What kind of paint are you buying? So just sort of keep that in mind as we go through this video. So basically, that should end like a lot of people. If you're buying shitty paint, you might as well just turn off this video, because everything else that I'm about to say to you is going to mean jack shit to you. Okay, just letting you know that right now. Now that I gave you a second to turn off your screens, basically what I'm going to be going through is that, if say you are using decent paint, I'm going to sort of give you a little rundown of what could be causing you to still shoot inaccurately if you're using good paint. Now, one thing that I see people do, this is just a barrel back. One thing that I see people do all the time is that they just take a generic swab. I wouldn't even consider this a squeegee, just like some swab that's not an exhaust swab, and they just try to run it right through their barrel, okay? That just grinds my gears when they ask me, hey, why is my gun still not shooting accurately? And they run the same swab down it like 50 times. This is a one-time use. Sort of, but this is a one-time use at the field, okay? You only want to use this once to clean your barrel. These cloth ones, or these, microfiber ones, you only want to use once on your barrel. The reason why is it's designed to soak up all of the paint, all the oil, all the shit that's inside your barrel that's making you shoot inaccurately. So if you just keep on running this through your barrel, you're just going to keep running the same shit through your barrel that you already tried to swab out, and you're not going to get any results. So use this one time. That's why I own like 50 of these fuckers. I mean, they're stupid inexpensive, but it's a quick fix while you're at the field. It's something to use if you chop a paintball when you're playing, okay? It's not a permanent fix, okay? That's going to get most of your paint out. It's not going to get all the oil out. What really might be throwing your, paint in different directions is oil. Oil likes to get in your barrel all the time because your paint has oil all on them for the most part. If you're buying decent paint, then you shouldn't have a ton of oil on it. But still, if you're shooting weak old paint, you're going to get a little bit of oil on it. So what I like to do is I like to clean my barrels properly, and I'm going to show you that here in a second. But with that being said, stop using the same swab over and over again, because you're not going to get any results. Next thing, including the oil, some people are probably like, how the hell do I get oiled on my barrel? Those are the same people, or lube, those are the same people that I see taking half the jar of lube and caping it on their bolt because more is better. I don't know, but those are the same people that just take endless amounts of lube and just cover their bolt, because if they have to lube it, if they lube it more in that one day, then they don't have to lube it tomorrow or something. I don't know why people over lube their guns that much, but I've seen it. But where does all that extra lube go? It's your bolt is what shoots your paintball. So if you over lube and use too much, if you use excessive lube on your bolt, where is it gonna go? It's gonna get shot down your barrel with the paintball. So all you're doing is, when you're over lubing your gun a lot, you're literally coating your barrel with the lube that you just put on your marker, so it would shoot accurately. You know what I mean? It doesn't make any sense. So less is more. Go watch the general gun maintenance video that I posted. If you guys don't know how to properly lube and maintain your gun, I explain how to lube it. I show how much lube you should really use. And if you're using more than that, then you probably are going to get lube getting shot down through your barrel, because that's just what happens to excessive lube. If you just have sitting lube on there, it's just all going to get worked through your gun and it's going down your barrel and you're not shooting accurately. So same thing with my mag-fed players. Okay, I've got 2 magazines here. I do own a mag-fed gun. You guys probably haven't seen that before, but it's a Tippmann TCR. Got 2 Tippmann mags here. If you break paint inside of your Tippmann mags and you don't clean your magazines, you're not going to be shooting accurately, okay? So for all my mag-fed guys, clean your magazines, okay? Because if you don't, you're not going to be shooting accurately. So with that being said, I have a couple barrels in here. Actually, I have the G-Tech barrel right here, and I have my Geo 3.1 barrel right here. Every single day before I go to paintball or after I come home, normally it's before I go, I always get my gear ready before I go. What I like to do is I like to get some decent water. It's not too hot, it's not too cold, it's not scorching hot, but it's something that like you would want to sit in a hot tub with. So you get some nice warm water, you fill up your sink, you don't have to go excessive with it, you don't have to go like super crazy with it. And you know what, you let it sit there for a good, I don't know, I normally let it sit there for the first time for about 2-3 minutes just to let that oil come out of that barrel. The reason why you don't want to use cold water is because that warmer water, that hotter temperature water is really going to remove that oil and lift it up. That's why you take warm showers to sanitize your body, to get all the oils off your body. That's why when you take a cold shower when you're sweaty, your skin still sometimes feels all still grimy and oily sometimes, if you know, just sometimes, not all the time. It's because you didn't get off all the sweat and all the oils. So that's why you want to use decently warm water so you can get all the gunk off, you know, all the lube and oil and paint, whatever you got in there. So after that first time of, you know, letting the barrel sit in there for 2-3 minutes, then after that I empty out the water. I'm just gonna rinse the barrels off just very, very quickly, and then I'm gonna put a little bit of soap in there so it gets all nice and bubbly. I'm gonna clog the drain again, and then I'm going to fill up the sink again. And the reason why is, again, the soap that you use is, you know, not the more soap you use, but this, you know, if you use some soap, it's still gonna remove more oils out of the pores or anything else in the aluminum, and you know what, you're gonna get a better shooting gun. So you use the soap, you fill up your sink, and then you let that sit for another 5-ish minutes. Again, magazine players, if you have a broken ball in your magazine, not your hopper, but your magazine, do this with your magazines and your barrel as well. So after you use, you know, the water with the soap, I like to drain it, give it a couple seconds, and then I like to fill the sink back up with some warm water just to top it all off, just so I can, you know, really put that shine on the barrel, get all the soap, get the rest of the gunk off of it. You shouldn't see any oil sitting in your sink. If you guys are doing this, and if you guys have ever done this before, then you can see that there's normally oil that comes lifted up and it actually floats at the top for the most part of the water. Oil and water, you know, they don't really get along. But anyways, so you're gonna see that oil floating, you're gonna see your water is gonna be a little bit dingy if there's paint in it, that kind of stuff. So on your last time, on your third time, your water should be nice and clear. You shouldn't see any oil, you shouldn't see any extra soap, anything like that. And now your barrel is good to go. I hate going to the field and seeing people say, I'm just not shooting accurately. And they have good paint and they're running that same damn squeegee through their barrel. But on top of that, I'm like, dude, when was the last time you cleaned their barrel? And they're just like sitting here running their squeegee through like, oh, I just cleaned it like 2 seconds ago. Like, dude, no, come on. When was the last time you took your barrel apart and you legitimately soaked it to get all the shit off of it? They're like, oh, you have to do that? That's a thing? And I'm just like, dude, that's one of the best things that you should do to your barrel. At least get a pull-through squeegee like an Exalt, like, you know, the Exalt swabs that are like $12 with the little flexible end on it. That's gonna at least get most of the paint off of it, but still, you're still gonna have some oil in there. And that's why you soak it in this water to get all the rest of the gunk off of it that the squeegees can't always get to. So another thing is that if you're using your these old swabs, wash these too. Use this once at the field, and now what you're going to do is you're going to fill up your sink and do the same thing to the swab, this barrel swab, all your swabs that you used, and you're going to wash these just like you washed your barrel. So when you go back to play paintball, then you have fresh, clean swabs. So if you do break a ball or something happens, then you know what? You're going to have a fresh swab to clean out your barrel. So that way you're not reusing an old shitty swab with dirt and grime and old paint and everything on it. So just sort of keep that in mind. Basically, like I said, this is a video of how to clean your shit. Other thing that you guys can do, okay, you have to think, what does your paintballs go into? Your caddy, if you have one, and your pods. Again, I see people running around saying, why is my paint not shooting accurately? And they have like fucking 30 broken balls in their goddamn pod of just over the years. And I'm like, dude, when was the last time you cleaned your pod? And they're like, wait a minute, you have to clean your pods? And I'm like, motherfucker. And like, it doesn't matter if you clean your barrels. It doesn't matter if you clean and maintain and lube your gun and you buy the best paint. If you put nice paint in a shitty pod that has paint and oil and gunk and dirt in it, you're just going to put that right through your hopper. You're going to get your paint, your nice, $50, $60, $70 case of paint, all oily, all paint filled, all nasty, and then you're still not going to be shooting accurately. So I'm trying to cover everything so you don't come back on this video and rage, I bought a case of paint $70 and it still shot like shit. Well, clean your pods to go with it. So clean your pods basically the same way. Run some water through it, dump it out, put a little bit of soap in there, let it sit for a second, dump it out, and then rinse it out one more time. If you can put your finger in your pod and run your finger in there and pull it out and it feels like you legit just finger fucked a girl because it's so wet and oily, then you know what? It's time to clean your pods. Just gonna throw that out there. So just sort of think about that when you're cleaning your gear. Just go through, feel your pods. If there's any dirt or grime in there and if it feels grimy and it feels oily, like, someone basically just dumped a whole thing of KY jelly in your pod, it's probably time to clean your pods or else you're not going to be shooting accurately. So just do exactly what I did. You're going to run water right through your pod. You're going to dump it out. And then you know what? Same exact thing. Use some soap to get all that oil and shit out of that pod. Because if you don't, then you know what? You're still going to be shooting inaccurately. And you know what? Same thing. You don't want soap residue or anything inside of your pod. So you're going to do one more rinse through. Use really, really hot water for this. Again, it doesn't need to be scorching hot, but it's not going to hurt your pod if you use a little bit hotter water. Rinse it out. Let it sit to dry. I like to do this right, 3-4 days before, and I let all my pods sit. Lastly, same thing. If you clean your barrel, if you clean your pods, if you clean your magazine, if you clean everything else, but you don't clean your hopper, and your hopper has a bunch of dirt and shit and old paint and gunk in it, especially if you use speed feeds, because a bunch of dirt and a bunch of just outside elements, a lot more dirt and crap and dust can get in there, your paint is going to be exposed to that. Your paint goes into your hopper and loaded into your gun, for anyone that didn't know that, unless if you're a MagFed player. So your paint is going to get all exposed to all that gunk in your hopper. So you know what I like to do is I like to take apart my gun. I like to separate my speed feed, depending upon your gun. A speed, if a Spire is really easy to take apart. I actually have a paintball stuck in mine. But you know what? I like to wipe it down. You can wipe it down with whatever you want. A microfiber works really well. I actually normally, how I like to do it is I like to use the warm water, and I like to get a tissue or a paper towel or anything like that, as long as you're not doing it on your mask, because again, you don't want to really rub paper towel all through your mask. Save that more for microfibers on your lens. But I like to get my paper towel or my tissue or whatever I'm using nice and really warm, just like how I did to clean my barrels, and I like to wipe everything off on the inside that you can't submerge underwater. Basically, even though you can submerge a Spire underwater, we proved that in the the torture test of the Spire versus the rotor, but still I'm just not going to do that because I I don't want to explode the internet again. So I like to take a nice warm, like I said, towel, rag, whatever. I prefer paper towel or tissues, whatever is closest to me. Wipe it off, squeeze all the water out, and then I like to go through with a dry towel, a dry paper towel or a dry tissue, whatever, finish it off. That's what I'm going to do for my motor, for my board, everything that cannot be submerged. Now, with the part that you can do with your shells, your speed feeds, everything else, submerge those puppies in some nice boiling hot water. Not really boiling hot, don't take that, don't be a fucking idiot, but, put it in some really nice warm water. Let the oils lift off of that. I normally let my my hoppers sit a little bit longer because they're a lot larger than a smaller barrel. So they're going to hold a lot more oil because a lot more surface area, and just not that. There's normally dirt and gunk and everything on the sides of it, so you're going to remove all that dirt. Now what I like to do is I like to wash my hopper twice, then use soap, and then rinse it off. The reason why is, like I said, because normally with your hoppers, there's a lot more gunk and a lot more paint hidden and a bunch more crap that you're going to lift off on the initial first rinse of the warm water, and give it a good little scrub with your hands inside of your sink. I like to drain it out. Rinse the spire of the hopper of my choice off, filled my sink back up with warm water, and let that water sit. Remove the last bit of oils that was sitting in there that it didn't get because you're using oily filled water the first time. And then I use the soap. And then once I use the soap, I let it sit in there for a couple minutes, just because, like I said, you want it to really, the soapy one is to remove all the last little bits of oil that's in there that's hidden inside your hopper that you can't get to. Any dirt, any grime, anything like that. And then you're going to pull your hopper out, you're going to drain that water, you're going to rinse all the soap and gunk and everything else off of it that you used. And then you're going to just rinse it off, let it sit for another couple minutes in some nice clean water, and boom, let your hopper sit out to dry. If you guys are not doing these steps, so if you guys buy great paint, but you're not cleaning all of your gear and taking care of everything, you're not going to get good performance and you're not going to be shooting accurately. Okay, that's why fields clean their guns. That's why fields swab out their barrels and their squeegees and everything else. They wash it. At least that's what we do at Lone Wolf in our pods and everything. Every now and then, every 2-3 weeks, we like to go through and just give our pods a good little soak in, just because people break paint in them from diving on top of them and everything else. So same thing, just go through and just wash all of your gear that your paint touches. So hopper, pods, your paintball caddy, anything that you store your paint in that is not a plastic paint bag. So just sort of keep that in mind. Lastly, like I said, don't buy paint at Walmart. We have a place here in Michigan called Dunham Sporting Goods. They're selling paint that was made by manufacturer. I'm sorry, I can't speak. They're selling paint that went out by a manufacturer that went out about 7 years ago. Probably, actually, that was, last time I researched that was about 2 to 1 year ago. So they've been out of business for 7, 8-ish years. So Dunham's obviously just has a giant ass warehouse, because they don't sell a ton of it, and people come to the field and it's all dimpled and oily and broken paint in it, and they paid $30 for it, and they're like, hey, can we use this at your field? And we're like, why would you even want to use that? And they're like, well, it's $10, $15 cheaper than the paint that you guys sell here. And we're like, motherfucker, look at that. That's not even worth it. That you're going to just completely destroy your shit. You're not going to be shooting anything all day long. So that's why you don't buy from big box retailers. Don't go to Walmart and buy stupid ass bullshit paint that's been sitting on the shelf. Save that for practice. Go snap shoot at nothing in your backyard and watch the paint go flying around every which direction. So hope that helps you guys out. Hopefully, that gives you guys something to think about. Wash your shit and you will shoot accurately. Alright guys, side note with your pods, if you have a lot of pods and you have a dishwasher, like me, I have 20, 30, 40 pods just sitting downstairs in my basement that I need to wash. So what I like to do is I like to just fill up my dishwasher with a bunch of pods that can be washed. So I will just fill up my dishwasher. The reason why is that I'll just put it on a light cycle. You don't need anything crazy. just put it in your dishwasher, so that way if you have a shitload of pods, that way you don't have to sit, you know, and do 40 pods by hand. So just sort of keep that in mind. Make sure as well when you're cleaning your pods, you rub them out on the inside if you're doing them one at a time. But so if you have just an astronomical amount of them, make, you know, just a quick little tip. If your parents will let you, if you're living on your own, then obviously have fun. But if your parents will let you, put them right in your dishwasher and it will clean them right up for you.